What's up, everybody? This is Superphil from Superphil's Fortress of Solitude, and today I'm bringing you some footage from Project Epoch. This is a private WoW server, and it is hosted through Project Ascension's launcher. So if you already are familiar with Project Ascension, have an account with Project Ascension, they have the PTR tab where you can try out their beta servers before they go live. And Project Epoch is available as one of those servers now. It's allowed this group to focus on developing their game instead of having to worry about the costs and upkeep of servers and whatnot, because I guess it was kind of a rocky launch. But we'll cover some of the little things they've done with their Classic Plus approach to the game. And if you're not familiar, you can see here the Troll Warlock class. For Tauren, they have added the Priest class. For the Undead, you see here we have Paladin. And for the Orc, I don't think we added anything to the Orc. For the Human, they gave them the Hunter class. The Dwarf actually got Shaman and Mage. So that's pretty neat. Of course, you know, retail, whatever, but the Gnomes also got the Priest class. So for any of y'all that wanted more race combinations, they've certainly added some here. I'm interested in kind of recreating my first max level character of a Tauren Druid. Just gotta get the right look for my guy. This is pretty much how he looked back in 2004. Ugh. Go ahead and hop in here. I'm going to let it play the intro.
Once a nomadic people, the Tauren roamed the endless plains of the Barrens, hunting the mighty Kodo. Scattered across the land, the wandering tribes were united only by their common hatred for their sworn enemy, the marauding Centaur. Seeking aid against the Centaur, the great chieftain Cairn Bloodhoof befriended the savage orcs who had recently journeyed to Kalimdor. With the orcs' help, Cairn and his tribe were able to drive back the Centaur and claim the grasslands of Mulgore for their own. Upon the windswept mesa of Thunder Bluff, Cairn built a refuge for his people. Over time, the scattered tribes united under a single banner. Though the noble Tauren are peaceful in nature, the rites of the Great Hunt are venerated as the heart of their spiritual culture. As a tribesman of Mulgore, you must test your skills in the wild and prove yourself in the Great Hunt.
Cool.
Hail.
So,
Ancestors watch.
I've got like an hour of gameplay in, maybe two. You know, I haven't really gotten a lot into it, but just to kind of summarize, they've added 1,500 quests into the game, which, according to their website, that's more quests than the Burning Crusade added into the game.
Go.
So that seems pretty crazy. They've also made races a little more, I don't know, beefy. So we'll just look through real quick. The first thing I'll show you is Taurens get a cosmetic. You'll see here tribal totem, and there my Tauren has a little totem that he wears. Some of the other races have cosmetic things, like the humans have a banner that they place down. The gnomes, when they're on flight paths, it shows a like gyrocopter instead of whatever the flying mount is for that flight path. And then they also have, you'll see here, a lot more racial things for the Tauren. Of course, we have our herbalism increase, our health increase. Then here's gun specialization, mace specialization, nature resistance, stave specialization. Of course, war stop has also always been there, but I'm pretty sure they didn't have guns or maces. I think they had staff, staves, whatever. But the interesting thing you can see here, this allows you to use the abilities from the Tauren race. Well, that's because you can do max level quests that allow you to learn about the other races and get their racial abilities instead of yours. So if you've always wanted War Stomp, but you wanted to be an undead, then you could now, once you hit cap, do some kind of quests or chain quest line, something, I don't know, that would allow you as an undead to get all the Tauren abilities, which is interesting. I think that's kind of neat. It allows you even more to play the race you want to play without like, oh, you have to be this race in this class to completely min-max your character. So I think that's kind of neat. They have also added, I believe it was 150 rare spawns into the game. I think they said it was like 3 per zone that got added. So that adds a lot for the completionists out there, or people that like to be rewarded for exploration. Speaking of exploration, they have, from what I saw, 2 challenge modes that you can turn on for your character before level, I think level 8 is when it stops letting you select one of the challenges. And they have an Iron Man challenge, and they have an Explorer challenge, something, I can't remember exactly what it's called. But basically the Iron Man is similar to other Iron Man challenges, hardcore challenges that you've heard of if you've followed any kind of classic news lately. A lot of the private servers have been doing those hardcore challenges where you die and you lose your character. So this one, at level, for both challenges, it sounds like at level 20 you get a reward for making part of your journey. At level 40 you get another reward for making part of your journey. And then of course at level 60, when you hit cap, you still get rewarded with, I think that's when you get the title if you complete the challenge. But I think for the Iron Man challenge, it's your choice to delete the character. But after you died, if you're in that iron challenge, you can't mount, you can't use flight paths, you can't use portals. Your character has to walk from wherever they died all the way probably to a major city so that you can turn off the challenge for your character. And so I think that's, for me, I think that's kind of neat. If you don't want to delete your character, you know, if you just want to say, okay, I lost the challenge, but I'm level 30, you know, so I don't want to delete the character. I've just lost the challenge. I don't want to keep playing. So they do kind of penalize you by making you do the walk of shame and turning off the challenge, but you're not out those, you know, 3 days in game that you've been playing. So I think that's kind of neat. Some people probably not like it because, you know, it takes away the from the severity of losing the challenge or whatever. You know, they're being purists, but that's fine. You know, you play the game, you want to play the game. So, but I think those are kind of neat. The second challenge, this is where the exploration part comes in. It halves the experience you gain from quests and killing, while I don't know if it's boosted, but while allowing your exploration experience to remain unchanged. So it's encouraging you to do the exploration out in the world and encouraging you to do, you know, some of those 1,500 quests that they've added to the game.
Be careful.
Which, I mean, why not, right? I mean, they're rewarding you for playing the game.
Well met.
And that will come with, like, a lore walker.
Goodbye.
Or lore walker. Achievement for doing those.
May the eternal sun shine.
So it sounds, well, it sounds pretty ambitious as far as things go. So 1,500 quests, 150 rare spawns have been added, and then they've also wanted to make the game harder, which I'm sure some of you, with any experience with classic WoW, is probably thinking harder, because I mean, there can be a lot of death runs, a lot of spirit reses, but they've wanted to increase the difficulty of the game and make it feel more rewarding going out in the world. So they have buffed the damage and health of mobs, while also changing. They've added new spells to the game and given new spells to creatures that presumably did not have spells before. And they've also increased damage from elites, and I want to say they've made zones. They've made zones that didn't have elites into zones with elites. It sounds to me like Pyrewood Village was back in Silverpine Forest, when that whole little village was full of elite Worgen and humans, depending on what time of day. Which leads me into my next point. They have increased the speed at which time passes in game. So previously the game ran on a normal day-night cycle. I never really paid attention, but so they have increased it to, I want to say it's 3 or 4 hours for like morning, and then like 3 or 4 hours for midday and then 3 or 4 hours to pass to night, and that will affect things in the world. So there's gonna be mobs that only spawn at night, or mobs that only spawn in the day. There's fishers out in the world, you know, that you would see that are going to be like packing up their gear and going to bed at night. And I guess those characters as NPCs will just not be available potentially at certain times of the day. So I'm interested to see just the changes from the day-night cycle. I haven't played long enough to see any of that happen yet, but it certainly sounds like a neat idea. There's also items that they've added or abilities that they've added where, based on the time of day, we'll have different reactions. So is something with the racial abilities for night elves that whatever, we'll say your casting speed during the day is increased, while at night the crit chance is increased. Which, I mean, sounds kind of cool. So it's very ambitious. We haven't seen any special quests yet, but you probably saw that Ravage that the Mountain Cougar just did. I can't remember if that was added like in retail, but I'm certain it wasn't part of Classic at least. Also, the Planestriders had that heavy peck move that it was gonna do to me. So I think we're already seeing some of those spells and abilities that I was talking about that they've added to the game. They also mentioned they wanted to make professions worth doing, which personally, with my character being a druid and like bound to nature and all that kind of stuff, I always liked having skinning and leatherworking for my character, because it's like, okay, I'm out, you know, I'm out killing these beasts, and I'm gonna make sure that, you know, I skin them and that their hide goes to use, you know. And that might sound stupid, but that was just always kind of like my own little personal thing. It was like, I liked the fact that I was skinning and making my own gear. But they've also added more recipes to the game and different ways to get those recipes. So hopefully you're not, you know, a level 40 leatherworker making 20 leather belts, because that's the most leather efficient recipe to make to get skill ups. So I haven't gotten that far yet on my other character. He's only level 6. I think I've scanned like 3 things, but so I'm interested to see how the professions are, because it would definitely be nice as a skinning and leather worker to be able to make, you know, a full set of gear, or, you know, stuff that's beneficial, because that was always what my friend said, was like, you know, don't waste your time doing a crafting profession, just do gathering and then sell it to the other people that do the crafting professions, because most of the gear you could make was going to be outpaced by the gear that dropped in the world or from the quest rewards. So hopefully with all those increased recipes and, you know, them saying we want to make professions, you know, viable and fun to do. So I'm excited to see how that goes. But there's just so much that they've done to the game that I'm excited to see more of it. I think that's, you know, Blizzard did the Seasons of Discovery, and I think that's such a smart thing to do, of trying to keep up with the private servers, you know, of offering new adventures in the same world and seeing new things in the game we've been playing for 20 years. So hopefully it'll be, you know, hopefully it's neat.
Friend.
I've been enjoying what I've done.
What brings you here?
Again, I haven't got to see a whole awful lot, which I'm pretty sure, as we're on the subject, where'd it go? Colorful robe. I think that is a new item. And this colorful belt, I think those are new cloth reward items, which makes sense. They added the priest to the Tauren, so it makes sense that they would have had to add some cloth gear out here. So that's pretty cool. As I was saying, I haven't seen many changes. There we have 2 new cloth items special to this zone. So that's pretty cool. that was lucky to see that. But
greetings. Be careful.
I think I'm gonna stop this video right here. We haven't got very far, but I've tried to make this video twice now. So hopefully you could hear me okay, and the background music wasn't overpowering, and you got to see, you know, hopefully it was enough to kind of pique your interest in checking it out, because it's pretty neat, and I'm excited to play more. Hopefully I'll get to play more soon, and we can kind of see what happens. We'll see how long the video lasts, if the video gets to stay up or not, or if it gets shut down. But thank you for watching. This has been Superphil from Superphil's Forces to Solitude, and we'll see you next time.